Godwin the Golden was murdered by the Black Knives. Even so, were it not for their companionship, they would have birthed a child. But there was one tarnished that found Fia with his resting child. Eventually, he was too late to save her. When he first kept the boy here, he realized that it was not his child to defend. He was to protect it with his own faith. Eventually, more warriors claimed, and after that, he faced off many worthy opponents here. He attacked them as soon as he can to fight for his child, or was. He would smash the glory and face his own worth. He then faced the vicious leader and tried defending his worth. He then kills him, but only one more warrior received the wish. They fought. Victory at any cost. What he soon learned, that the child would be named Morg, after the shattering. But the shattering wasn't to be determined. This land was called Limveld. He learned the studies of Limveld, Morg, which presided to deal with any circumstance of slashing the lands between by himself. From his teacher, he learned that the eye was no longer bound to his will. When Morg saw the news of King Morg dying, he heard that he was dead by the scarlet rot by Melania herself. Morg was alone, filled with abundance, and not only to destroy mostly of the lands between, but to destroy the world of chaos. But one day, when the Knight of Solitude regretted that someone had died, he alone found Morg. He learned that his teacher was dead, and then he thought, how would I be making him a leader? He thought. He managed to clear the way. Morg would soon learn that the lands between was a curse. He had started gathering his army. It was time for war. He began using the army of soldiers, which is a spirit bell to the world that has landed. Today, he recruited some allies that he will have. And today, he slashed everything that he owned. He murdered as possible as he could. How he could be so disgraceful to the lands between, how he encouraged to learn his past. His victory was at cost, burning the bodies that he would never have. Most of the allies he had joined him. In the village, they thrived, and they joined together for battle. They sought out for victory and revenge. Morg now enters the Altus Plateau. It was time for revenge. And as they met in battle, they fought and destroyed many as they could. Then he rises from the shadows of defeating an Elden Lord who crosses a path. It was a massacre. He would soon murder many of the fallen and avenge, would murder an innocent or would face death. He then reached the capital outskirts and finally won the war, but it wasn't time for destroying the Erd Tree. It was time to fight the Elden Lord. Eventually, King Morg had won and finally took his revenge and stayed in prison for a long time and was no longer Elden Lord. King Morg became the Elden Lord, but eventually Ornstein the Betrayer betrayed him. He became the Berserker when he met the Round Table Hold. The few friends followed him, while his best warriors had joined him. This was the end of Ornstein the Betrayer, of his life from the world. He soon left the world of the lands between, but stayed in his Round Table Hold, hoping to find vengeance. Ornstein left the world, stayed here until this was their end. Although he had 2 bodyguards named Nadar and Endor, but it wasn't enough. He wanted to make a city that makes the shape of Landel. It was a perfect design for a round table, and to receive it, it was the best choice in the Round Table. Meanwhile, the Tarnished came to visit the Berserker, which had him very confused of his dignity. Oh, this is a rare occasion. I can't remember the last time a new Tarnished made their way to the Round Table, but very well. As your senior, I bid you welcome. It is safe here, but you may let down your guard. You are a mere visitor to the Round Table. Remember your place, newcomer. I found the mark of your location. It is found by Devonia the Seraph Knight. It is for a while that the Round Table will be proud of you for defeating him, but you may defeat him on his grave. Be sure of that, friend. Eventually there was one clan who would fight for King Morg, and that name is Bihan, who would hunt and fight and die to a world that leads to a demigod named Devonia. They lead the army into destruction and destroying the world of Limgrave. But before doing the world that he destroyed, mostly, is that he finished off Devonia with an epic blow and ran through the Stormvale Castle. Devonia was now placed in his grave, hoping that the Tarnished would find him, or not, eventually. But after the Tarnished destroys all the demigods, he went into Landau and faced off King Morg outside the capital outskirts. And no wonder he fought King Morg himself. But after a little while, Ornstein betrays you, and eventually you start to fight him and kill him. Why, you? How could you? Ornstein became worse. He then was limping, then returned to the round table, and was feeling better. He needed to find something. Revenge. When I get my hands on that Tarnished, he will then learn the truth. He will die onto my knees. Thank you so much for watching the lore. If you are excited for the Old Knight of Quicksilver lore from the Latveria, you can check that out. It will be coming soon, along time with the early access on Twitter. Go check that out.